Hello everyone, apologies for my tardiness. It has been a busy day. I will be going live in just a moment and drawing some more of my comic. No, oh no, I have been yammering away to myself. That is very sad. I was just saying that this is page 14. There I is. What a muppet. And I even remember coming off mute saying, hello, I'll be with you in a minute, and then just forgetting to take myself. Anywho, I'm working on page 14 today, which you might remember from the original comic. It's just before Silver makes it onto the scene, and I was just saying I've added some extra panels to help sort of assist with the storytelling and the sort of placement and helping people picture what the inside of the bar looks like, because until I'd done that it was sort of flashes of what the room was like, and I know it's not necessarily the end of the world as long as people kind of get that you're inside the bar, all is good, but I did want to kind of set the scene a little bit more. And yes, obviously some of this will be covered up as speech bubbles, but yeah, that's what I'm working on today, is just flattening all the colours in. So it's going to look a little bit weird until I start adding shadows, because once I start adding shadows it starts looking a little bit more like this, which is another scene sort of set in the bar, so I'll add all the lighting effects. I did add a window after the fact on these drawings, so I need to go back and do stuff, and I'll need to nick colours from here, so I've kept this sort of open, and the same with like sort of stealing colour schemes from other pages, and these pages actually need their lighting effects still dropped in. Like this has had lighting, this has had lighting, this one and this one have obviously not had lighting, so that's kind of the difference. And I've got actually most of these pages need lighting overlays put on them so that I can kind of give it the right atmosphere. Is the aim, but for now just carry on plodding. The next comic is set more in the daytime, so the lighting will be a little bit different when I come to that one, which, exciting, I finished writing issue 2 on, what day is it now, Thursday? I think it was on Monday, either Monday or Tuesday I finished writing issue 2, so it's kind of there, poised, waiting for me to get started, but I can't start it until I finish this. But yeah, I've sort of panelled it all out, I've got to storyboard it, and then I can start drawing it. So when I'm getting a little bit twitchy about this one, I can dip into issue 2 now, which is really cool. That was my big development of the week. Anywho, back to this page. Now I decided to give it like a mad chandelier of like pink and purpley gems. I think just to represent it, I'm gonna pop these in. And it's gonna look beautiful. Yes, and it seems kind of mad to do all this detailing when you're not really going to see it, but meh. It's funny, as I'm getting more confident with colouring this, what I am finding is that my colouring lines are slightly more confident than my drawing lines, which is fine, it's not a problem, but it is sort of funny how that comes to be when it was always very much used to be the other way around. Not quite sure what my thought process was for that bit, but hey ho. I haven't quite finished all the metal. Sneaky. Thank you. And Lecky. So what have I? So I've still got flat. Ooh, and there's some line work that I've definitely not necessarily polished off. Let's put it that way. Let's tidy this up, which I think is like this one. Make it neat and tidy. It'll be really interesting when I get this printed for the first time, because I reckon when I order my first author copy I am going to find a lot of mistakes with my digital colouring. Because it's a different kettle of fish apparently when you get the sort of finished one through. I am looking forward to that day immensely. It's like kind of amazing when you start to plop these colours on, particularly where it's sort of like this, where it actually then makes up a different shade. Your brain starts to ping it out into 3D. It's been my favourite bit of starting to add kind of shades into this. Is the sort of, haha, my brain can compute this now. I think I have made that too dark. Actually, the very back of the cabinet will be reserved for that sort of super dark brown. It's very nice. I do need to work on my Bob Rossing. Like, no, actually talk you through what I'm doing when I'm doing it. It's just so tricky. I am looking forward to doing is all these bottles. I want to give them all like crazy little labels. Like fun little Easter eggs that people that look closely will read through the comic a second time. If I'm lucky enough to get fans that dedicated, will sort of find little details that they haven't spotted before. A little bit like a Where's Wally, or I don't know if anyone has ever had a Stephen Beastie book. And they've got little, like lots of little details where the more you look at the illustration, the more stuff you find. Pardon me. Look at the difference between that, so that cupboard and that cupboard. It's like chalk and cheese, right? Like one is 3D, one is just flat. Magic. 'Tis magic. What I do need to do is actually pop a little ceiling down up there, don't I? So... oh, Sarah's gonna cheat. Yep, that'll do. I also want to look at is this page because I almost want to steal stuff no, right way. There's one frame I basically want to steal the artwork. Make sure it tallies with what's in here now. Where? No. If I plug that keyboard in for control and paste. Yeah, no worries, Charlie. Have a good phone call. Control C. Control V. There we go. T. Kind of want that. But what I do need to do is on the line art layer, just get rid of this. None of that. Thank you very much. Oh, no, I did want some of that. Oops. What I don't want is to pull people just completely out of the world I've put them in. So there's a lot of referring back to old drawings and old bits and bobs. Right. What I might even do is just undo what I've just deleted there, but I'm going to attach the clock. Move it. So now zoom in and properly tidy this up. all the bottles looking as sparkly as these ones by the end. Is going boop beep boop on my phone. There's a lot of boop beep boop. Is it because I'm live on YouTube? That's usually the boop beep boop. Oh, and it's angry because it's running low on battery. I don't know, just happy people about things that I'm sorting out. It works for me. What's up, boopy boop boops? What? Love all my friends and family. I am the queen of no, don't contact me. Which is very silly, really. Because then I pout when nobody speaks to me. I'm a conundrum. Talking of that kind of thing, we're going to a party on Wednesday? What day is it today? Yeah, on Wednesday. I'm very nervous. I have to interact with people who I don't know. It's like one of Sarah's sort of, not fears, but one of my kind of anxiety triggers. That's probably a good way of putting it. I didn't like that. No. Okay, so we're gonna flip this on its head, maybe. Maybe a bit more radically than that. Too thin. Much better. Filing my nails earlier in the snaggly bit. Oh, hello. Ah, thank you. Blow shush 6. Ah, and hello Zane, how are you? How is school life and life in general? Can I, let's just see, can I work out how to... I'm gonna put a little love heart. Oh, excellent. I was a little late to the game today. It was my daughter's last primary school sports day, which yeah, a little milestone passed today. Do not feel old enough to have a kid going to secondary school, which I don't know what the school system's like where you are, Zane, but it's probably the equivalent of someone starting at high school. Or middle school I think, for American, but because most of England only has a primary school and oh, my fish just jumped when I did that. Primary school and secondary school, so when they're about 12, off they go to secondary school. It's all very big and very scary, but very exciting. And very good. So my husband stole my lamp. Tom? Yeah, you. Could you put my lamp back? Love you. Ah!
What?
That'll do. You're still very... Oh, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. It's brightening my face, thank you. Ugh. Okay, now you're just winding me up. Stop it, stop it, stop it, stop it. No, I don't like that. Put it back where it was. No. When I say it's nice where it is, I mean it's nice where it is. Yeah, that's good. That's good. I can see my face now. It's very bright. Did you just go...
What? No.
Did you just do a sass?
No.
He's a very sassy man. Who's cruising through a bruising. Let's keep the screen where you guys are too. It's all dusty. So Zane, today I'm working on page 14 of my comic, which I redrew digitally and added some bits and tried to create some ambience. Don't laugh, Tom. And yeah, this is where I've got to. Because I can see I missed a bit. I hate missing bits. I'm starting to sort of 3D up things. Work out which layer everything's on. So, it's going to be that colour. Just put that in. It's going to be that colour. Put that in. And that's going to be that colour. Put that in. Another bit of blobbing. Actually, that's going to be, that whole side's going to be that colour. Oh, they're my least favourite bit, Zane. I've had to really train myself to do it, and I'm like trying really hard to make it so that when I draw a comic book scene, I really think about where the character is, because I'm one of these people that I started drawing by like drawing I started out by sort of always drawing almost like character design type stuff, so it'd be like somebody in like a woo pose, or you know, with a bow and arrow or something. And it's only when I've started to draw a proper comic book that I want to turn into a book that I've started to do this whole really focusing in on backgrounds. But I do find it a bit tedious, and be just really difficult sometimes to come. Like I've got what I'm sure won't be because there'll be speech bubbles and stuff, but this feels like a lot of dead space up around here, and my brain just can't. Is like, yeah, I've got a little chandelier up here, and I've got to remember when I zoom out, actually, you know, and that's the point. Compared to the size of cloud, like I know these are in the back. Actually, no, they're supposed to be quite far away in the background, so it's fine. It's fine. Perspective is something I'm still struggling with a little bit. Not on life, like, you know. Which means, because I wanted this place to have quite high ceilings. So no, that should be alright. But what I might do, ooh, actually that's a good idea. I might add a hanging basket, because when I went to see Esoterica Live for the first time, we went to this really cool venue and they had loads and loads of hanging plants coming down from the ceiling. And it would be really cool to sort of emulate that. So if I do like a little basket just there, just so I can remind myself that that's where it is, and then just all that coming down like that. Yeah, and then when I'm flipping kind of like that, and it's not dead space, I like that, and I like planty things. Planty things always make me really happy. Planties. Because yeah, the sort of main part of this thing was in this like amazing atrium, all these plants, and it was just beautiful. Okay. Yeah, I like that. Maybe some down here as well then, because I like that a lot. Yeah, I like that a lot. Huh. Let's go back to making these things look 3D. Zoom right on in. And I want to put like silly things on all the bottle labels. Maybe I can make all the bottle labels titles of Esoterica songs? I don't know. Yeah, actually, no, I said that. I like that. How goes your writing, Zane? Oh, that's really positive. I had an old boss that always used to say progress, not perfection. I sort of live by that now. Even if you're only doing a teeny tiny bit every day, it's still progress, and even if it's not, you know, the absolute best you could possibly ever do in your whole life ever, it's still progress. Hi, Charlie. Had a new person come on the chat and say a very life-affirming thing and then run away. What? Unless you're still here. Blosh 6. I was wondering if when I sort of said it slowly or something it might be a rude word, but no, not that I can see. Ooh, wrong button. No! E! Really wrong button. Okay, fixed it. There are still buttons on this XP Pen tablet where when I push them it's a bit like, oh, what does this button do? Oh, not the right thing. Abort. Any of you guys 48 pages? That's really cool. I was saying to Charlie earlier, my milestone for this week is I finished book 2, the writing for issue 2 of this. I was like, I wasn't feeling arty that day, so I sat down and just kind of wrote out the sort of main story synopsis and then started paneling, doing all the sort of panel planning and stuff, and I got it done. But whilst I'm talking of like other stuff, and I've sort of stopped colouring in, do you guys want to see the original page that I drew? Because this was a traditionally drawn page originally. Shall I pull out the old sketchy book? I'll do a bit of a rearrange in my studio area so my sketchbooks are easy to get to. Let's see. With me, colours. This is the original page. Again, I don't know how well you can see on the camera, but can you see that we're only sort of 3 panels? So now we've made it sort of 4. And I was quite pleased with the little things that I've written on the, like I've written things like Wine of Doom, Potato Vodka, and other things, but I need to find a way of reintroducing some fun names and stuff onto my bottles and stuff. Oh, thank you, Zane. So yeah, it's not what's on here is, in fact, if I can I mass hide? Oh, I can mass hide those, right? Just pretend you can't see underneath any of these, but you'll see that down here, if I delete that. That's actually the original page that I dropped in behind the scenes. And so when I photographed it, it lost a lot of the details, which is why I decided that if I was porting over any pages from traditional, into digital, I was going to redraw it, because this looks good. But yeah, all the little bottle details, a lot of the line work seemed to go a bit wonky, and it was after I sort of dropped in the traditional drawing photo. My camera's just not powerful enough, and I don't have a big enough scanner to cope with it. So the first thing I did was drop it in and redo the line work. And I did notice that I'd made Cloud's head humongous, so I shrunk his head a little bit as well, so he wasn't lollipop head. And actually I quite liked that line work. I thought it looked better. Stuck a little background in. That's what I've copied over from another panel. There are the drawers. There's the actual bar and the railbird bit. I'll just put these other panels back in as well. Just so it looks a little bit less mad. Last but not least. Okay. Down here, and finally, good old Cloud. And yeah, I always find that the flatting bit always looks a little bit weird until you've added sort of you started adding the shade and stuff. In fact, I might even just why not why not? I'm going to start shading Cloud because it's driving me a little bit mad that he looks sort of almost like a gubble cutout that I've stuck on top. So let's start making the poor boy 3D, shall we? So I try and go in with the mid. I know certainly when I was I spent a very short amount of time studying art. This is definitely not how they want you to do it, where you put the mid shadow in first. But it's how I like to do it. So sorry, art tutors, if you ever watch this back and go, "What is she doing?" The answer is she doesn't know what she's doing. Can you see already his head doesn't look flat anymore? Yeah, well, I'd say because flatting is when you literally are just plonking the base colour down, and flat colours is normally a bit like I'm doing with the shading on here, where I won't blend it now. There are some early pages where I did do a bit of blending, and actually I don't think it suits my art style. I've come to the sort of conclusion that art blending is not for me. So I stick to flat colours now. But that sort of initial flatting where you just kind of go through the whole page and dollop the base colour in, I always it's a very strange place to sort of leave your characters looking. So yeah, light's coming from up there. Yeah, already that's looking a lot better. It's not upsetting me anymore. This is me trying to sort of map out where light's going to be, where the dark's going to be, because everything kind of below that line needs to be dark shaded. I might cheat and go for a bigger brush. Oh, cheaty McCheaty. The trick is to try not to... Ugh. I will go back with my eraser tool and just tidy this up because... Just all over the place. Oh, like a toddler. By the way, I don't necessarily condone any of my techniques for someone that is trying to do art. I can just sort of show you what I do, but it's very much, this is the Sarah way. It is very slapdash. Or, you know, don't try this at home, folks. So I need to go back with the eraser. If I'd just done it neat and tidy in the first place. This would not be an issue, but I can't help myself. Did it messily. Actually, I don't want to erase this bit because I think I accidentally... Yep, that'll do. Okay, right. Then I go for slightly darker and warmer tone. And proper sort of contour areas. Do you know what? I could probably go a little bit darker still. Let's go with that. And this is particularly where I've got sort of more extreme changes. Just gives it a little bit more depth. And yeah, he no longer looks like mega flat. And depending on how drastic the lighting is in the room that you're drawing, I know the lines again, you might make the tones and stuff a little bit more dramatic. It's just to help your eye go, ooh, this person is made of tubes, rather than, ooh, this person is made of pancake. Pancake. And then, depending on where he is, and he is quite close to this chandelier up here, and I want to show that kind of catching on his cheeks a little bit. And there's this amazing thing that I love called effect called glow. And if you just keep the hardness fairly low, density quite low. Ooh. Nope. Maybe even less. I like good stabilisation and glow. Right, let's do this a bit more gently. Even that might be a bit too much, but let's just say for crazy person's sake that what Add Glow does is it actually uses the shade that sort of sat underneath and just adds a little bit of that colour. So almost that you wouldn't even notice it, but if I kind of, wrong layer, I'll be using that effect to kind of make this bit at the top look shiny as well. Ooh, so you do mix or blending and solid shade together. That's a good idea. Yeah, this issue 1 I have decided is my experiment issue. I've learned a huge amount from drawing it and colouring it, and I know when I get to the lettering stage it will be a massive learning curve for that as well. Now that I've written issue 2 and it's kind of locked in, I think I'm happy to kind of let go of issue 1 a little bit. I think before I'd written it I was so kind of obsessive, I would say, with this issue, that this because this is part of issue 1, like madly obsessive about like every page must be perfect, every page must live up to my thing, and none of the pages do, and therefore I could never publish this and it's going to take me years. I think I'm at the point now where I'm like, no, I need to get through all the pages, just get through it now, treat it a little bit like a marathon, just got to reach the finishing line. I can then go to the very beginning and letter it, and then when I finish lettering it I can go through the whole thing again and do like a final edit, and then it's there. And sort of when I look at this, because like 6 weeks ago, maybe only these 3 were coloured and a few at the end. And now actually I can sort of see I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 pages that need significant work. Everything else, it's kind of twiddling. That makes me really happy. And also, like, because whenever I look at this, I'm like, oh, it's so short. It's such a short little issue. It's such a baby issue. But then I pulled out one of my comics, one of my actual, like, comic books. So there's 40 pages in issue 1 and 40 pages in issue 2, but some of those pages are like splash screens and stuff. I pull out. So I got these comics are very good, and actually I didn't realise, but they're all written by the same guy that writes Saga, which is also very good. So 40 pages is 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. So, in book forms, which it's going to look really pathetic on camera, but to me I was like, actually, where's the camera gone? That is, you know, for just a 1 issue, that's not nothing. It's not nothing. And then now I've written issue 2, and again, you probably can't tell, but like, you know, it'll be, and have I got one here? When you do like just the issues, because eventually I want it to be like a whole book. Like I want the first 4 issues to come out as a book like this. But I think when I get it published on Kindle Direct Publishing, I reckon, I think it's going to be like that big. So issue 1 will look like that. I do not remember picking this comic up. Anyway, yeah, so it will be like the size of a proper thing, and seeing it like laid out flat like this, it doesn't look very much, but when it's, I think when it's like this, it'll feel substantial and real. And it probably doesn't help that there are 3 pages, sorry, that I haven't drawn at all yet, because when I rewrote it, but yeah, the whole story arc, the first book probably will be closer to this sort of size, which does it have page numbers? At least it does. So 146 pages, which, yeah, I'd say 40 plus 40 plus 40 plus 40, so maybe a little bit shy of that. But then again, I haven't worked out whether this story is 4 issues long or 5 issues long, because although I've mapped out the whole story arc, I haven't like properly written it yet, and it won't be the same as your writing, Zane, because when you're writing, or certainly I wouldn't have thought it's the same as your writing, because when I write a comic book, it's almost like, I think of it as almost like within each, there's normally 2 chapters per issue, but you do jump around location wise, and each location there's probably at least 2 pages of art / dialogue, because it's a lot more movie scriptish than it is like traditional writing, where you kind of have to describe everything. You kind of have to give directions to the actors almost. And maybe if you've got a page that's set in a particular place, I try and describe that place a little bit, or put references. So for example, in the next issue you go to Silver, who's this, I don't know how well you can see, but it's the sort of silver haired lady that they meet in this comic. You go to her, she runs a shop, and you go to her shop, and like how I want the shop to look is, I don't know if you've ever seen Howl's Moving Castle. This is my favourite movie, Studio Ghibli. Beautiful film. And Howl's bedroom is amazing. It's just full of sparklies, and I love a sparkly. And I want her. You haven't? Oh, if you get the chance. And I don't know if you have Netflix where you are. And for a little while, they did have all the Studio Ghibli's. In fact, I'm going to have a quick look and see if it's still on UK Netflix, because that would probably give a good indication. Netflix, where are you? There you are. But it's my all-time. I don't know how. It's just got everything that I like in a film. So I'm not saying it's for everybody, and it won't be everybody's favourite film, but it is definitely mine. Let's have a look. HOWL. Yes, it is. So I think Netflix currently owns the license for all of the Studio Ghibli films, and I'm not going to play it. No. Where have you gone? If I bring this down here, yeah, it's beautifully drawn. It's just beautiful. Beautifully written, beautifully drawn, and certainly the English voice. I can't obviously comment on any other language, but the English voice acting is very, very good. It has. Oh, you do! Yay! Oh, highly recommend. And when you listen to it, like I've got a real thing. Oh, really? That's awesome, Charlie. Studio Ghibli is like. I think I prefer it to Disney. But Howl's Moving Castle, the English voice actor who plays Howl is Christian Bale, who at the time that I first heard this was very much my Batman. So he is the voice of Howl, and it works so well. And actually, the voice of Sophie is also just spot on. And I know voice acting doesn't necessarily make or break a film, but for me it really does. Like the cadence of people's voices and stuff, I love it. I think it's why I like music so much, because I can see cadence of people's voices. But yeah, highly recommend Zane. It's my all-time favourite film. It's a comfort film. Like if I'm feeling a bit blue or if I'm not very well. You will, if you're a meat/animal product eater, you will crave bacon and eggs. Studio Ghibli is very good at doing food animation to the point where in nearly every Studio Ghibli film there's something being cooked, and if you haven't got that thing in the house, it's a slight cause of stress. Especially if you're a foodie like me. So yes, I just thought I would share. But there you go, Zane. Something to keep you occupied after my stream. Although to be fair, I will be finishing this stream in about 15 minutes because it is nearly this old lady's bedtime. Yeah, during the week I am a bit of an old biddy. Oh no, Cloud has blue eyes. Blue, Sarah. Abort. Mission failure. Okay. Right. I'll go back to the rest of it, but what I do need to do. No, not thick enough. Neat trick. Nice and tidy. Very tidy. Actually, do you know what? I might even put some little pots above here. So I do love plants, and if I was having a bar, I would have plants above here. I'll have that kind of train down. Okay, maybe this is not the right layer to draw this on. Oh, no, wrong button. Missed. Let's stick them on their own layer. Yeah, I think. Oh, I haven't even finished colouring this in. Talk about half job Bob. Yeah, I think that makes those look a lot more interesting, doesn't it? Tell us more, Zane. How have you written your characters? That is the best bit, isn't it? That's the thing I like about that's why I like comics. It's all dialogue. Who don't love a bit of dialogue? Well, in fact, do you want me to show you how I write its name? I have. the scripty script in yarn. So I'm going to just skip past issue 1 because this is sort of how I wrote issue 2. Scroll down. So how it starts, so this is kind of how it finishes with each page, then each panel, what happens in each panel, blah 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 blah. I go all the way down to where I originally wrote it. I write out the general story in a kind of more traditional way, so like, you know, who does what it kind of looks like. Sometimes, again, I'm lucky because I'm the artist and the writer. I don't have to be quite so detailed in my writing because it's all in the noggin. If I was writing this for someone else to draw it, I'd have to put a lot more information in here about what each room looks like, what the setting's like, what the camera's angle's like. I mean, I'll do that in my thumbnails that I'll do after, and then yeah, I've even started issue 3, but I kind of drifted away from that. But I'm itching to start issue 2 now. Itching, totally itching, because I've got some gorgeous things to draw. I must be patient. I must finish issue 1 first, although I have it on good authority, and I don't know if it's the same. I think it's probably the same with like normal Bookzine, although not, because I think you publish on like you just publish online, don't you? But apparently when you're publishing books, you almost shouldn't put your first book out to market until you've written your second, if you're writing like a book series. So that kind of there's not like a big gap between when your first one's issued and then the hype dies down and then the next one comes out. So lots and lots of people have said to me, don't start publishing this comic until you've almost finished creating the second comic. Which means these streams may not be necessarily the smartest thing to do because you're obviously along the journey with me for drawing my first comic, but it's not going to stop me doing this. I'm hoping that as the months go on I build up a slightly larger audience and, you know, people come and join in. I probably need to do a few more weekend streams, but weekends are a bit tricky at the moment, just to try and get more people to come and follow me. But Zane or Charlie or anyone, if you know of someone that would be happy to follow me in Twitch, or come and join my Patreon, it would be most appreciated. Just go, look, this person does cool comic stuff, come and watch her. Because the more audience I build up before I unleash my comics on the world, the more successful they're likely to be. And I would like them to be successful, not because I want money, but because I just like the idea of people reading them, and it, like, yeah, lots of people reading them would be really cool. And just like knowing that lots of people are reading it. And I know the more people that read it, the more you'll get, what is this rubbish? But I'm okay with that. If a few people read it, I'm happy. Right, and I think on that note, I have run out of puff, and I really did not finish that bottle chest of drawers, but that might be for another day. But I am happy that Cloud no longer looks like a flat person. So good night, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Zane, I hope the writing continues to go well for you, and I will probably catch you all next week. Bye bye.